We just hit about 14,000 subscribers, so I thought it was time to do another Q&A. Hey guys, Sarah here from Work Life Glue, and today I'm going to be doing a Q&A video. I put a call out for questions on our YouTube community tab, which should show up on your subscriptions feed if you are subscribed, as well as on our Facebook page, so make sure you like us over there. And sometimes I'll put call out for questions as well on our Instagram at SarahWLG. I'll put links to all those below if you guys are interested. Very active on both platforms, so just make sure if you want more behind the scenes and tips and tricks and that kind of thing, motivation, you go like us over there. Now I'm just going to jump right in. There are a few just life related questions and some daycare related questions. So I'm going to do the life related questions first in case you're not interested in the daycare related questions. That way you can just cut out after a couple minutes here. But the very first question, homemaking Madeline. I'm already going to butcher these names. I'm sorry guys. Do you ever modify or skip your miracle morning routine if you are sick or up all throughout the night with your kids? Guys, I really work hard to like give tips on here and tricks and stuff I've learned, but I also really try to be real. I am not a robot. There are plenty of times where I get overwhelmed, where I'm up late, like last night for example. It was a Friday night. I was out late working on a business thing and out with friends kind of thing till pretty late, and so I slept until 6, which for me is really late because my kids get up right at 6. So I didn't do any miracle morning. Most weekdays I do, but if I am up late for some reason I will sleep till 5 and then still try to do something if I'm able, or I'll just work on something. I don't like the feeling I have most days if I wake up with my kids, but on a weekend, you know, it's not a big deal. Some weekends I do my miracle morning routine, some weekends I don't. It just really depends on how I'm feeling, what I need to get done, and that kind of thing. I really get up to work on stuff because from 4 to 5 I usually work on editing videos, planning videos, other online business stuff. And I love doing that, so it gets me out of bed, and then the miracle morning is just like a cherry on top treat for me, but I don't always do it. Monica asks, how do your family dinners look now that you are on the keto diet? Are you prepping 2 different meals? Do you have friends that you, are you prepping 2 different meals? So dinners, we have adapted the 5 dinners 1 hour to fit with the keto diet, so our dinners are keto friendly. If they're not, like if I did baked ziti a couple weeks ago, which is definitely not keto friendly. It's pasta and tomato sauce, so it's like not keto friendly at all. I just made a salad for myself, or I'll have leftovers. And then, you know, our daughters will eat most of that. Sometimes we'll give them like an extra something and they get fruit. I don't eat a lot of fruit because I'm not eating any sugar. But yeah, and we've always kind of done their dinners slightly different. They are always given what we're having, at least unless it's super spicy or something. But then we'll also put some things on their plate that I know they'll actually eat and like, because Celia is very picky, and I try to have a well-rounded meal, but also make sure she's still offered the things we're eating, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're still pretty much doing the same thing. We're just meal planning differently because I'm not eating any carbs really. Do you have friends that you spend time with? If so, how often? I have a few really close, good friends, and only one of them lives anywhere near me, and it's still half an hour away that she lives, and she's still really busy. I actually was with her last night, so that was really nice. I have the main time when I see my friends is birthday parties for their kids or my kids. We really make it a priority to go to those and to invite them, and they make it a priority to come see us, so that helps. And then, you know, once in a while we'll try to plan like a little trip to go see. I have one of my best friends is 4 hours away, so we only really see each other once or twice a year. Either we'll go see her, or when they're in town seeing family, we'll see them. And then sometimes we'll go up to the Twin Cities. I have some friends up there we'll go see, but I'm not hanging out with friends a lot. I wish I was, but at the same time, as a extremely busy working mom with full-time job and side hustle, it just, my family comes first, and all my friends know that, and if they didn't understand that, I don't think we could be friends. And they, almost all of them have families of their own, so they get it. I do try to talk on the phone with them every couple weeks. on the weekends during nap or at night when my girls have gone to bed, just so we can catch up, because I just think that's important. But I'm the kind of person who has a few really close friends. I'm a INFJ, if you guys do the Myers-Briggs. So I appear friendly. I am like a nice person. I enjoy being around people, but I don't open myself up a ton unless I'm really close with somebody. So I just can't manage having like tons of friends. I have like a lot of acquaintances who I like and enjoy spending time with, but I have only a few really close friends, and that works well for me. Cynthia asked, how involved do you become in church ministries? Do you lead any groups? I know that Celia enjoys Awana, but how about you and San? So this is an area of my life that I am striving to do better. It's just really hard. Celia does Awana on Wednesday nights. We do our best to get to church every Sunday, but San has been working almost every Sunday, and quite honestly, I've been getting really burnt out just with daycare and momming full time and him being gone all the weekends and not having family time. So sometimes we don't go, and the way our church, the timing of it is really hard too, because Bryony misses her nap no matter what we do. She'll either like start her afternoon nap late or miss her morning nap, and it's just, she doesn't do well. So if I go with them by myself, it's just not fun. It's like I don't get anything out of it, and it's just really stressful. If San's there, we do our best to go every time if he's not working. And we were going to have Celia start Sunday school now that she's old enough for our church. After the first service, we'd go to Sunday school, Brian would go to the nursery, and we would go to like an adult Sunday school, but it's just been causing a lot of anxiety for me because Bryony's then really missing her nap, and we're having to deal with that. And so I'm like, you know what, Celia's doing Awana every Wednesday. I think that's plenty for her right now in this stage of life. I'm trying to give myself grace and not say yes to everything, even if it is something as good as faith. It's not worth it to me if we're not getting anything out of it and it's a super stressful situation. So I am involved in like the women's ministry, so I do, you know, I get involved if we have like a Monday night thing, or if we have like a once a month Sunday thing. I really try to go to those if we can make childcare arrangements, if Sam's working, that kind of thing. And then we are trying to do like life groups, our church calls them, where we're like getting together with people. But again, it's really hard, especially if your kids can't be there because of our schedules. He's a chef, he works crazy hours, crazy days, never know what's going on more than about a week or two in advance. And so it's really hard to commit to anything, and I've just found I need to give to me first so I can give to all the kids I care for and my family and my loved ones, and I can't do that if I'm spreading myself too thin. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay, now for the daycare related questions. I'm gonna try to do these pretty quick because there's a lot of them. Jessica asked, do you allow outside items, diaper bags, tablets, electronics, or toys, and if not, why? No, I do not. The only time they can bring an item like a toy is on share day, and it cannot have small pieces. I don't allow diaper bags because I've heard some pretty awful stories about stuff that's come into daycare in them, like drugs, coins, you know, just stuff that I don't want in my home. I'm very protective of what comes in here. So I just make sure I have diapers and backup clothes and that kind of stuff, but no diaper bags are left here. So I don't allow toys because on share days it is a nightmare. I allow it because they want to bring them once in a while, but they almost always get the toys put in their lockers because they're fighting over them. And it's just they aren't good at sharing. So when they bring something that is theirs, it magnifies the situation. So that's why I don't. And he just, I don't know, licensing's so strict. I like to have everything provided here or stay here. Marcy asks, I know what you generally do for your littles in daycare for Christmas, but have you in the past, or do you have any ideas for children to make Christmas gifts for their parents? So yes, I always do. So just to backtrack, so for the kids, I've started the tradition last year of doing Carter's pajamas and a book. So I plan to do that this year as well because they usually have a really good sale, and then they can all wear their jammies on the last day before our Christmas break, and it's super duper cute. So I plan to do that for the kids. For the parents, I've done a few different things. I think I've done 3 Christmases now. I wish I could remember all the gifts. I know we've done like ornaments. I think that's what we've done pretty much every year. So one year I took a photo of each kid, made it black and white, cut out their face, and then put it in like a little transparent ornament with some like crumpled paper that was red, and then wrote their name on it. It was just really cute. And then we did an oriental trading craft last year. I'm probably just gonna do something like that this year. I don't want to make the holidays more stressful, and I just think it's a nice token of appreciation, but at the same time, like, parents can also be responsible for getting each other gifts from their kids if that's the goal. But I do it, you know, just as a kind gesture, say we're thinking of you and that we're thankful for you and that kind of thing, and to help teach the kids about giving and stuff like that. But I don't go overboard, because then I don't think the point really is there. But yeah, that's what I do. Another question from Marcy: ideas for providers to stay positive when no one recognizes their birthday or does anything special for them for the holidays. So I know it can be hard when your birthday's not recognized, or you don't like get a Christmas gift or anything. I am very fortunate to have had like the most incredibly giving daycare parents who go way above and beyond. I don't know, I think you just have to keep in perspective that I don't think the parents are trying to make you feel bad, but they also are paying us, you know, a good size amount of money, no matter what you charge, to watch their kids. And it's a really busy time of year, and it's stressful enough, you know, working, trying to get all the gifts, trying to make it special, trying to take off work for when you're closed, if you are closed, that kind of thing. So I would just, you know, some people aren't gift givers. Maybe that's not their love language. They just don't care about that. So I would try not to look at it like as a reflection on you, and just feel good that, you know, if you're giving the kids a gift and whatnot, just make it about the kids. I don't know, it is hard, but I try not to take that kind of stuff too personally, because you just never really know what's going on, or if they don't know, you know, that other people are doing that and that kind of thing. Carlita asks, which childcare app software are you currently using? I use kidcare.com. How do you deal with late and slow payments? I don't really have that issue much at all, because it's just automated. So it goes out through KidCare and they pay it, usually recurring payments, so I don't really have to worry about it. If I've never run into like a parent waiting too long to pay me, I'll just text and be really professional about it and just say, just letting you know I haven't received your payment. As a reminder, blank and blank cannot attend until that is paid in full, because I always require payment ahead of time. So if a parent refused to pay, well, their kid wouldn't come. That's how it would work. So that way I don't have to track anybody down, and I love that it's all online. So honestly, I don't ever have to deal with them like writing me a check or dealing with the awkwardness of that. I don't like that part of it, so I like how that works. Susan, what do you do if you have a 2-year-old who only sleeps an hour and wants to keep getting up at nap time? I give them a book, puzzle, and quiet toy, but she still gets up, and if I put her back in her spot, she screams and wakes everyone up. If I had that situation, I would probably put her back in a pack and play if she would stay in, because I would say, you know, if you can't lay down like the big kids, then you can't be with the big kids. And I would try that. Or you could do like the octagon playpen. I know some people have used those because they're bigger and it's not as like crib-like, but still like a separation. And I would probably separate them until they can handle it, because it's a big deal when the kids move up to like big kid world and get to sleep on, you know, sleeping bags with all the other kids, but they have to have the maturity and the, I guess, self-regulation to stay there until it's time to get up. Because I do have kids who, they all are different. Some fall asleep sooner, some fall asleep later, some wake up earlier, some wake up later. And so for me, in my business, we all stay quiet until I come down and turn on the lights. And they just know that because I'm consistent and I'm very strict about it. And that way they all get the quality rest, whether it's actually sleeping or just resting their bodies, quieting their minds and that kind of thing. And we can't have that if some kids are being up and loud. So I would try separating if your state allows it or whatever, and try reverting back to an octagon playpen. And I think, you know, 2-year-old, I think after a couple days they'd probably be like, okay, I'm gonna just do what I need to do because I don't want to be in the playpen. I want to be with the big kids. But yeah, let me know how it goes. Josie asks, if you have a child in your care that is super picky eater and won't eat what you serve, do you offer that child other options than all the other kids, or do you serve only what you're planning to serve? Sometimes when I share stuff, I feel like I can just sense the negativity coming at me, but the way I see it, guys, we are preparing these children for life. Life doesn't cater to you. Life doesn't give you whatever you want. And quite honestly, I'm not a short order cook. I have up to 10 kids. If I serve something different for one kid, then in my mind, I have to serve something different for every kid, whatever they want. And who has time for that? And how is that teaching them to try new things? There are so many studies and research about how many times it takes for a child to actually try something after so many exposures. Some kids, it's lots and lots of exposures before they actually try something. So if you never offer that food that they don't like and let them just deal with not eating it and not getting something else, then what's incentivizing them to actually try it in the future? That's just my 2 cents on it. I don't force children to eat what I serve, but I try to serve kid-friendly meals, and almost every child will eat the fruit, will try the vegetable, will drink their milk. So I mean, that in and of itself is a decent amount for a little kid, and then they'll eat snack later, a couple hours later. They're not starving. I've just had some really negative comments about if stuff like that is abuse, and I'm not even gonna go into my feelings about that. If trying to teach children to appreciate what they're given and try new things and eat a healthy diet is abuse, then I guess most parents are abusing their children. That's my 2 cents. I have had children who are really picky, and I would, you know, give them less of the thing that they don't like so that they can finish their plate and have seconds of something they do, if it's like fruit or something healthier. But I don't give them a completely different thing. I just don't do that. It's just not a standard I want to set, that kids can just have whatever they want, because they're not old enough to know what is healthy, and we're the ones in charge. Okay, getting off my soapbox about that. Sunny asks, how to adjust your daycare schedule to a newborn or young infant taking multiple naps? How do you make time to get outside when your little ones sleep so much? So I've really worked to only take older infants, like 4 to 5 months and up. Partially for this reason, and so they will be taking a bottle and all that kind of stuff, because I mean, it is hard when you have multiple ages. What I do now and what has worked for me from the beginning so far has been nap right after breakfast around 8:30 to 9:30, and I just get the baby used to that by doing it every day, and eventually they get used to it. I haven't had anyone who didn't. And so that's when we do our preschool time, and then I get them up, I feed the baby if they're, you know, still bottle feeding, which they're a baby, they are. And then we try to go outside from like 9:45 to 10:45. That's our outside time if we can get out, which we try to every day. So I just, you know, hustle it along, do what I can to make sure we get outside at least half an hour. And then we usually go outside again in the afternoon after snack if the weather's cooperating and that kind of thing. So I just really try really hard to prioritize getting outside and those naps and feedings and getting them on a routine and a schedule as quickly as I can, for the sake of everyone. So the baby knows what to expect, so the kids know what to expect, so we can get outside so that everyone's needs are being met. But it is a hard balance, and it is a transition when a new baby starts. Okay, how do you help transition infants 10 months into daycare? First time ever daycare kids who know no one else but parents and grandparents. How do you help with refusal to take bottle and crying if not help? Okay, I have a video on preparing infants for daycare, which I would highly recommend you guys watch. I'll link it below, and have parents watch. I will not accept an infant who doesn't take a bottle, and I will not accept an infant who has to be held all the time. I make it very, very clear to the parents that that is not possible for me. I cannot have a screaming baby who's hungry with no way to feed the baby. I cannot have a baby who cannot be put down, because I have other kids who need me, who need my arms available, you know. A little bit here and there is totally fine. Of course, you're gonna be holding the baby throughout the day, but for them to scream and cry whenever they're put down, I wouldn't keep that baby, quite honestly. It's a parent's job to prepare their child for daycare, and it's our job to explain to them how to do that and why it's important, and that they're gonna be at work knowing their baby is screaming all day. And their baby is screaming all day. Who wants their baby screaming all day? Not me. And who wants a provider who has to listen to that? And then their mental health goes down the drain because it, you know, does something to your soul when you hear a baby screaming like that. So that's my 2 cents on that. If it's after the fact, be persistent. I mean, a baby that's 10 months old will eventually learn, like, nope. And I wouldn't pick them up. If they're screaming at me, I would wait until that 1 second when they're taking a breath and they're calm, and I'd say, oh, thank you for being calm. Now Sarah will hold you. You know, trying to retrain them that screaming is not how we get our way, but being calm and, you know, that kind of thing is how we get our way. But it's hard when they're that little and they've learned that it works. But you need to teach them at your house that doesn't work. But the bottle thing, that's on the parents' end. That's a tough one, and I know a lot of providers who have terminated care because of that. Because if we can't even feed a child, what can we do? I mean, that's a basic need. If we can't meet that need, then we can't provide quality care for them, because that's a need not being met. Roxanne asks, when and how do you help little ones transition out of pack and play or crib for nap? It really just depends on the child. Around 2 years is when I normally do it. I'll give them, like, for their birthday, a nap mat if they're not already sleeping with us. But it really just depends on the child. If they seem ready, I literally will just tell them, like, they have to be old enough to understand what you're saying. So, like, my Bryony, I wouldn't transition yet. She's too little, and oh my gosh, she's crazy. So that would never work. But so yeah, I would just, you know, explain to the child, you're a big kid now. You're going to be moving to a mat. These are the rules. If you can't stay on your mat or stay quiet, then you will be back into your pack and play. And just being really consistent until they decide they want to be like a big kid. I don't know. Every child is so different. It's hard to answer that, but that's what I would do, and just be really, really consistent and make a big deal about it. Make a big deal about them being a big kid now, and I know you can stay here and be quiet. You're getting so big. I'm so proud of you. Okay, Erica asks, have you ever raised your rates with daycare families? If so, how did you go about doing it? I don't raise my rates for current families. I raise my rates for incoming families. So that way I don't have to deal with it. I can, you know, add more paid days off and things like that, but I just choose not to. I tell families when they start, this is the rate you have, and it's the rate you'll have the whole way through. If you have another child, it probably will be higher, but for that particular child, that rate is locked in until, you know, they leave my program. Doran asks, how do you manage on your own? Don't you think you should get an assistant, and what are your rates? I don't share my rates on here. I just don't. I don't think that's very professional. How do you manage on your own? Structure, setting boundaries, setting limits with the kids. And I like this. Don't you think you should get an assistant? Almost all of Minnesota has the same amount of kids as I do, and most of us are on our own. We have limits about, like, how many little kids we can have. Right now I only have 8 kids. I've had 10 in the past, and, you know, yes, it's a lot, but 8 of them are between 2 and 4, and only 1 or 2 are littler than that. So I don't know. To me, it's about balance. Is it hard? Yeah, it's hard with 2 kids. It's hard with 10 kids. I don't really, you know, I don't see a huge difference based on that, but I don't know. Having an assistant would be a lot of extra money that would be out of my pocket, because I'm not getting extra money from the families, and it would be extra tax and paperwork, extra time training them in, and then what if they can't come that day, and my numbers and ratios, and I just think it'd be a nightmare, and trying to find somebody that's reliable. If I ever do have an assistant, it will be my husband, just depending on where life takes us. But no, I feel okay with it. It's not, if I felt like I couldn't do it, I wouldn't do it. But to me, it's, I don't know, it's not much more work than 3 kids. To me, I like a bigger group than a teeny tiny group, because they can like separate into groups and they don't fight as much. But But yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Kyra or Kira, I'm not exactly sure. What is the age range in your daycare? Do you take 5-year-olds? If so, how do you keep them entertained all day long doing activities with 2 and 3-year-olds? All my kids are between infant and age 5. They go on to kindergarten when they turn 5, so I haven't done before and after school care, but I have had like a 6-year-old come during the summer for a few weeks, and honestly, I don't think their interests are totally different than a 3-year-old interest. They still love to play. They love sensory bins. They love a lot of stuff a 1st grade classroom does is similar to what we do. Yes, they can like read and stuff, so I may have them read a book to the group, but other than that, kids are pretty much kids, and they still like a lot of the same stuff from what I found, and that kind of thing. Yeah, they seem to just like the same kind of stuff, so I haven't had an issue with that. Bianca asks, how do you advertise for your daycare, and how do you know what to charge? So I have a whole video on advertising. I will link that below. It has a lot of stuff that I couldn't cover in just this little video answering this question. And how do you know what to charge? You find out what others are charging. We have, at least where I'm from, we have like a yearly thing the county puts, or the state puts out, of a breakdown of what it costs for the different age levels in home in each county and in centers, and those always tend to run on the low end for some reason, but I just look at that and I think, you know, where do I feel I fit in? And I found out others' rates by going online, and if they posted their rate, I'd make a mental note of that. And you can ask people like a general range. It's illegal to say what you actually charge, but you could say, you know, I'm in the ballpark of 100 to 150 or 300 and 350 or something like that. You don't have to give them the exact rate, but I don't know. And I personally went a little higher because I do a dedicated preschool every day. I'm a former teacher, you know, childcare experience and that kind of stuff, and I'm running my daycare very professionally. So I charge to reflect that, and I know a lot about mindset and business, and that if you price yourself low, parents will think you are low quality, even if you're just trying to like get people in the door. If you price yourself higher and you want to attract like higher quality families, you will, because they will think, okay, they're charged more, they must be better, even if you're not. But that's just how we see things. If something is on the Target shelf and one is $1 and one is $7, you might still buy the $1 one, but you might be like, wow, that $7 one must be a lot better because it's $7, even if they're the exact same thing. Why do you think a lot of people don't buy generic, even if it is literally the exact same thing, but it's cheaper? You assume the one that's more money is better quality. So just keep that in mind as well. It's a tricky thing, and if you start at one amount and nobody's enrolling, then drop it down. But you don't want to start too low and then get trapped there. Yeah, those are my 2 cents. So those are all the questions. Let me know if you guys have further questions. I also do a monthly dedicated video on a certain topic on our Patreon page, which is $10 a month. And you also get 3 chef and daycare provider created recipes that are kid friendly, and they come in beautiful printables with photos and meal ideas and tips and stuff like that. So if you're interested, head over to our Patreon page and we'll have a lot more information over there if you like this kind of thing. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.